when you pre-record something, you basically, you can stop it, you can edit it. I don't edit my videos, by the way. Like anything I upload, it's a full nice stream, right? And you won't see this fancy background colors and the animations. I don't do that. I'm just someone who creates content. I'm not a content creator. But when you share the screen, like for instance, if I'm sharing, like if I'm sharing the architecture this way, I want to make sure that when I share my screen like this, right, that it fills the screen, because the person that's on their phone, like right now it's not, but see, as I kind of minimize the size, watch what just happened. It needs to hit just about every corner on the screen. And now you got yourself a very nice kind of a view. So if I'm on my phone, also if these things on the side are not necessarily, just hide them, right? Like just push that guy back like this, and that should hopefully give you more space, see, as much space as possible to give people the chance to understand what you're talking about. The cool thing about, sharing knowledge is that, there is a lot more to do for the survival and evolution and fulfillment of mankind than what you can fit in the achievement of any person's lifetime, even if they have lived for 200 years. So when you share knowledge, you're enabling and allowing someone else far, far away, no matter where they are, what they are, to be inspired by this and actually take that baton and push forward and continue to teach people and continue to spread knowledge and help people, right? And that's like some of the biggest achievement. If you can be in the tech industry, they have this kind of concept of the 10x developer. Have you guys heard of this term before?
Yeah.
10x developer.
Yes.
For some time there, people were misinterpreting a 10x developer as someone who can do the work of 10 people, right? But how I see a 10x developer is basically someone who doesn't just do their job well, but they can make 10 other people do their jobs just as well. And that's true scaling, because if you think about it, 10x developer, 10 people, and then 10x developers, and then 10 more people. Before you know it, you have a community of engineers that really care about the quality of the work that they're doing. And eventually, that will reflect positively on whatever they're building, because software today is in everything. Literally, there's nothing out there that doesn't have software in it, right? Even if it's not material, like something like this guy, right? This is just a sippy cup, right? But there's no compute here necessarily. But whatever made this and whoever designed this used software. So software is either directly involved or indirectly involved into, even, let's say, even like, let's say whoever designed this, they didn't use computers. I bought this from a website, right? So where you buy this from is also software, right? It was delivered to me using someone like an Amazon driver that is using software to know my location and drop it at the right place. So you can understand, like, wherever you look, software directly or indirectly is influencing your life, right, on the daily, almost second by second at this point. Okay, enough with the TED Talk. Let's go back to business, right? So where are we? We have went so far as to close all these pieces, which is amazing. Um, I'm just wondering here, like we said, loading text component. So there's larger header component, paragraph base, and division base. But where is the little the three dotted? You see that three dotted? Like, let me pull back Lovable here real quick and see, that loading screen here. So check this out. I think we may have missed something in our architecture, because this part here is missing. Check this out. Do you see it? Do you see the three dots down there?
Yes.
I wonder if this was not necessarily part of our POC, or we forgot something about it. but we really need to do that part as well, right? And I don't know, maybe that orchestrator component will be doing that part. I'm not sure. I know that we said there's a finding kindness, so there's maybe this is the paragraph, right? So we did that top
Mm.
part, which is great, right? But there is these two parts, and then there's this part down here, which is this loading indicator, right? So let's just see here if our architecture, it gives us a chance to kind of re-examine our architecture. I know we have a division base, paragraph base, and larger header base. So that will take care of that piece. But where's the piece that's about? I'm guessing that we need a. Do we need a third thing in here in our architecture? What are these three dotted things called? Do you guys remember? It wasn't Sync Fusion, remember? It has a name for it. Naming conventions here are very important. But I'm guessing there's a third thing in here that needs to happen. The third guy in here, and that guy needs to be like that three dotted whatever. I thought it would be one of these, but apparently not. Larger header, paragraph, and then division. Okay,
Hey,
may
I think it's gonna be because we will be using the ready CSS class for that. We're just basically doing that for us, no?
I thought you're right, but I thought it was like I thought it was a Sync Fusion thing. Hold on, Sync Fusion, uh, loading. Hold on.
No.
I know that we did this before. We did a little research on it, and we found one out of the box. Let me kind of find the screen here.
Yeah, I think we had a couple of them, then we chose one.
Yeah, remember? Remember that they all these loading. Do you see the different ones? And there was like three dotted ones. Was that CSS? Did we determine that this will be just pure
Yeah,
CSS? Aha,
pure
pure
CSS. Yeah.
CSS. And we had this in our POC, right? Our POC
No.
showed that. We didn't
No,
have
no,
that
no.
in our
You,
POC.
uh, uh,
So maybe we need to do a POC first to make sure things work,
mhm.
just like we did with
Yeah.
the spinner. Okay, let's do that. So this one will be super quick and simple, actually. I don't see it being super massive, but you never know, right? You know, you have to account for everything. Let me kind of fix my Visual Studio here to fit just about the screen right there. And for the people watching us, please, if you can't see the text and if you can't hear us, or you're dealing with any technical difficulty to see this stream, please let us know. This is for you. We're making this for you, the people watching. Okay, I'll just create a new branch here. Users, Hassan, Habib, POC, loading, three dots. Yeah, so the loading three dots. So going back to the home here, we're gonna have to kind of build something in here temporarily that will tell us this is the view that we want or not. So I know that there's like a header one and there's a paragraph, a P, right? Actually, going back to where was I? Going back to Lovable, we should be able to actually inspect and see what this is, right? So these guys here, if I look at the code, well, the code will be too complex. Let me go back into this guy, just this guy straight in here, and basically just pick up. So there's this main container. I'm not too worried about that, but there are these three pieces right here. So this guy is an H2, right? And then there's the paragraph, and then there's this class, loading dots right there. Dot one, dot two, dot three, whatever they decided. I mean, we have a different solution for it, but that's basically what we're doing, right? So this is header two, paragraph, and then dots. Okay, so we need a div. That's exactly
And
why. Yeah, that's exactly why we did that. So these are the components like a div and a header and whatever. And then in here, I basically said loading kindness dot 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 like that. And then basically going into preparing something beautiful for you. Okay, preparing something beautiful for you. Okay, that's great. And then the three dots. And I think these three dots, like three loading dots, if we do it with CSS, let me go find the CSS part of it. If we're not going to use Sync Fusion out of the box, I think we can probably just do something else with it. Let's see. Three
Could
dots
you check the
loading.
private chat?
Huh? The
I
private
sent
chat, did you
the
send it already? Okay, let's take a look.
yes.
Oh, is that the one? Nice, nice, nice. So, okay, let's go back into the window here and let's see what you kind of dropped. This is the CSS for it.
Yeah.
This is the HTML loader. Okay, so the class here is loader, right?
I
And
mean, I
then
sent the Stas,
uh,
I sent the link like we can choose which because there are many kind of loaders, you know.
that's okay. That's
Mm-hmm.
just I'll take the one that you just gave me and then Control KD just to clean things up. Do you guys remember how to fix this problem? At right?
Yes.
Because you have to escape, right? So loader, and then you basically said, okay, so the class name is loader. We're gonna modify. We just want to see something running in the beginning, right? That's the POC part of it. See, this is gonna be really simple. I mean, we're gonna need to just kind of put some coloring and stuff like that and make sure things are centralized. But this is gonna be much, much simpler than anything else. Let's take a look and see. And it's native, right? So um, we're not doing sync fusion necessarily. It's just native. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so you just give me the one where they basically just kind of hit back and forth to each other, right? So
Yep.
send me the site. You already sent me the site where we see the different types.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. In the chat.
Okay, let's take a look. This will be fun. So let's go back here. So native, right? Native CSS, no libraries, nothing. So which
Yeah.
one looks the most similar? Let's see here.
I think the one we chose was at the top.
The one at the top, is it this one right here? Copy
Yeah.
CSS, this
Yes.
one here.
Yes, that
Let's
guy.
let's let's see the lovable kind of view. I think you're right, Abdul Samad. I think you're right. So yeah, see, it shows, and then they get bigger, bigger, and then smaller, smaller like that. I think it's more like this one right here,
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes. That's guy.
right?
Yeah.
There might be a
Seven.
little bit of like delay, but we like delay like what lovable is doing is a little bit a tiny bit different. But that's the whole point. The point is to be able to basically go and say, yeah, here's the loader. I don't need the HTML, and then I'm gonna put keyframes 1733. One of the best things I learned from this series is that you get to learn about keyframes. There's no way around it. You're gonna have to learn about keyframes. Okay, let's do this. So this is the Windows app. What happened to it? I'm gonna give it a. Let's try again. It didn't disconnect me, did it? There you
No, I
go.
did.
So now we have to make it perfect, right? We have to really know, like, first of all, we know that these things are centralized, like in the lovable view, we know that these things are centralized, right? So one easy thing that we can do to centralize content is to just basically go and say div align center, right? But what's the other way to do that? So let's go and steal some ideas, right? So in here, this is the loading icon, and then find, but everything here is governed by text align center. Do you see that? Text
Yeah.
align
Yeah.
center. So let me go back to our code and start kind of moving some of that into here. So let's go back here. Yeah, you have to have your POC working and looking right before you start doing anything else. So let's just say we have a thing called card and then text align center like that. So that means we need some kind of card. So oh, dev class card like
I
that.
also noticed that loading kindness should be H2.
It's H2, right? That's right. That's a good catch. Loading kindness. Does this center things for us? Let's find out. Yeah, it centered this part at least, right? But this part down here didn't centralize yet. Let's find out why. There's probably still more rules in here. So there's text align center. The only thing I could think of is that the loading dots itself. Yeah, justify content. Yeah, justify content display flex. Okay. So this
Yeah,
here will need a thing that says um let's see, justify content center.
I think this we would need, so since the card is the parent,
Mm,
we need to make the card a display flex so we can play with the child. And
okay, display
inside the
flex
card we
center.
should say just, yeah, and for the card we should give justify content center and align item center.
So in here, justify content center
Yeah,
like this. Okay. What about the loader?
yes,
Does it matter?
yeah, it's gonna cover everything. And I think we also should give align item center so we
Align
centralize it from yeah,
center like that.
yeah,
That's a lot of centers. Let's see.
like it's right and top.
It looks right. It looks right to me. Loading kindness. Now we just need to kind of dig a little into the coloring of things, right? So what I know from the Lovable site is that these loading dots, what kind of colors these loading dots have, right? Let's go back into the web view here. And let's basically say, well, let's take it from the top. This guy here, what kind of font does it have? It has this color. It has font size 14 and
14
margin bottom
and
24. So let's copy these rules, right? And let me put these rules right here. Let's just make sure everything looks exactly the way it's supposed to. So closing this. So this is at this P guy. So P card, so it's card. It's basically card dot card P. So a paragraph within that card will have these attributes. Okay, does that look right? I don't know. Let's take a look. It's supposed to be kind of grayish kind of thing. Yeah, it looks about right. Do you see it?
Yeah,
Preparing something for you. That's pretty cool, right? Now, let's move on to the other piece, which is um the one above it. I feel like the one above it is is also governed. Is this a full H2 with no, see, it has like font size. Do you see that? All of them.
yeah,
So this is not just a raw H2. It has more to it, doesn't it? So this is card. No, not loading card. It's just card. Yeah, there you go. I like how Visual Studio to kind of help you with the understanding that this is a subset, like another properties under this thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's take a look and see now if it looks different. Should. Yeah, it looks a little different. It looks a little different, but it doesn't look, well, first of all, it says finding kindness, so that's my bad. Finding kindness.
kindness.
But look at this view. Look at this view that I have here. Just try to remember what finding kindness here looks like, right? And then look at this guy. Something is different. It's probably the
yeah,
font, guys. I think it's probably the font. Do you see that font family, Segui,
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah,
Yeah. So this would be at the body level. That's something that's just across our entire app, right? But we should probably do that. So let's go back here. And I don't think this guy has actually like, I don't think it has specifically anything. Let's see, that body, and then slap these fonts in there. We're gonna have to put that actually at the body level in the app, but let's just run this and see if it makes any difference. It 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 doesn't really. Do you see any difference?
Yeah.
Kind
Mm,
of. I think it's
Kinda.
different.
It just feels different for some reason, and I don't know what's the reason for it. Look at like remember this view. Let me actually zoom in a little so we can actually inspect it closely. So do
Mhm.
you
okay.
see how finding kindness? Okay, but now looking at the actual view, look at finding kindness here.
Mhm. It's thinner.
Do you see difference? It feels like it's thinner.
Yeah.
It's a little thinner, right? So I'm definitely missing something because this, there has to be something else governing the view of it. There's border box, margin, display block, block start, block end. Okay, great. And then there's the card, and then there's the font family, and that's it. I don't see anything
Could,
else. It's
could you
also
uncheck
possible, huh?
could you uncheck font family from the body if it makes any sense in here? Just for testing.
Uncheck font family.
Yes, is
Yes,
it possible?
if it's green. Hmm.
Oh, it definitely matters. I don't
No.
think I can uncheck it from here, but it definitely matters. I'll prove it to you. Like if I put it at the card level, you know what could be happening? It could be that the overall app view is influencing. Like if I go at, like, watch this. If I go at the app CSS, do you see this? This
Yeah.
could be
Yeah.
influencing, right? If I do this, what happens, right? If I just kind of override the fonts in general. So I don't have to come back here and do this at all because it's at the body level, right? Like that. And then if I run this, well, it looks better now. Do you
Really?
think? No?
Let's
You don't
see.
Yeah,
see it?
it's too small here. We can see. Yeah.
Yeah, now
You guys don't see it?
it's better.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, just keep that in your memory because I'm gonna switch back. I'm making you all suffer with me because of the, but just remember what this looks like, okay? Now check this
Hmm.
out. And then I'm gonna take a picture so we can actually compare them like professionals. Do you see
Yeah,
any difference? So I'm
I
gonna
think
put
it's the
them next
same.
to each other. I'm gonna open like a paint because I can't share both screens together. It's impossible. But I'm gonna kind of copy one. Let me just copy one and copy the other, and we'll put them next to each other and see if we actually achieved this parity. This is what I call parity, right? Parity meaning like I've actually achieved exact replica of features or, capabilities or look and feel or whatever you want it to be. So I'm gonna take a
Mhm.
picture of one, and then I'm gonna take a picture of the second, and I'm gonna show you both. And then you kind of judge for yourself based on what you see whether these are identical or not. Is that fair? So let's go back
Yep.
here. I'm talking about the H1 and the paragraph specifically, but not necessarily. Yeah, there you go. Okay, now be surprised. Watch this. What do you guys think? Do you think they're gonna be
Yeah,
100% identical?
Yep.
I think we need Greg. We need Greg's
They
help.
look exactly the same. Look,
Yeah, exactly the
except
Yeah,
same.
except that kindness in my app is uppercase K, right? And kindness in the lovable view is lowercase k, but I think they're identical to each other.
yeah, and there is a
Yep.
space between three dots and kindness.
What is it?
Yep.
I
The
think
three dots
that
after
Yeah, the
kindness.
space. Yeah, I need to take away that. That shows you
Yeah.
how much of a foreigner I am. So, uh, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. But I think we got the parity. Just a
Yep.
thought, right? They look the same to me.
Hmm.
Do you know how I
yeah,
know? If you zoom in a little bit closer, look at this little break at the G letter. Do you see that little tiny?
Yeah.
break at the G. It's exact same one right here.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta have an eye for these things. That's the thing. Okay, so it's just a font change. Great. Now, the last one, which is gonna be the most interesting one, right? Which is the three dots, right? We need those. These are the ones that are gonna give us a little bit of a hard time, but we can do it, right? So first of all, we need to know the size and the color. And I think that solves all these problems. So this guy says loading dot flex, display flex, justify content, and then gap 4p. And then I think it's literally at the dot level. Do you see this?
Yeah.
So this is the
Bounce.
color, but the color doesn't change, right? Unlike this ball, like heartbeat thing that's going on. In this case here, it doesn't change. So if I take these without the animation part and go copy that into our Maui Blazor app here. So these are the keyframes, whatever, right? So I'm assuming it's in here, what you're working with. So if I go here and say width is 8 pix,
Yeah.
right? Background color. Oh, is it background color? Oh, it's just background, right? So background goes away, right? And then border
But there you go.
radius, right? I don't think we need this guy. Background size. And I don't know about this no repeat gradial, whatever. I don't know about that. But also there is another piece in here which is about the animation itself. So let's take a look at the animation itself because the animation is part of this, right? So um, kindness, acts of kindness. So I'm just looking at the lovable view. It's 1.4 second infinite ease in out. Bounce, it says.
Yeah. Bounce.
Bounce, right? So okay, so let's just run this first and see what it looks like, and then we'll see. Oh, it's in there, but it's not. Do you see that little
Yeah.
the what happened? I think I killed it. Let's go back here. Maybe this part is part of it. I don't know. Let's see. Nope, I killed something. I think this solution is significantly different. Yeah. Oh, wait, what is this? What is this height? Oh, now I forgot everything. What was the original? You know what would be nice if we just kind of actually copied the three divs, the dot, 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 like that. So it can actually come in as an exact replica instead of the loading thing. But what I know for certain is that if these are the colors, we know that these colors can be changed. We can play around that for a second, but let me just run this and see where we are. Yeah, they're there, but they're very small. Do you see them? Very tiny.
Yeah.
Very, very tiny. Um, maybe it's better instead of copying it from somewhere else, if we just actually took that lovable approach, like as is. So what they basically did is that they had a class called loading dots. And then within that class, they basically had the dots, right? I think they made one for each. Let's see, 0ms, 0.15. Yeah, that's what it is. Do you see what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that then. Let's do this exact same thing. So I'm gonna copy the elements with everything inside of it. I'm gonna go down here. So this here, loading dots. So dot dot one dot dot two dot dot two three. Okay. Okay. And then let's get rid of that loader and everything else, just to simplify things. And then let's start adding the CSS. So the CSS of these loading dots is basically starting from this guy here. So these are the loading dots. And then at the dot level, there's a dot class, and then um, there's a dot one class. So there's dot class in general, and there's dot one. So I need to kind of get that in. There you go. And then we need for each one. So dot one, dot two, dot three. So this is 0 ms, and then there is 1.5. Let's do that. So there's dot dash one, dot dash two, and dot dash three, like that. And the timing between these three is as follows. So there's 10 ms, and then 0.15 seconds, 0.15 seconds, and then the third one is 0.3 seconds. Okay,
Does this mean that we don't need a keyframe in this case?
it it does, you know what? There's the animation part, and
Mm.
maybe that bounces out of the box. I am not sure. We'll find out very soon, okay? I mean, I see bounce. I wonder if bounce is out of the box. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. Okay, yeah, we need something. I see them, right?
Yeah.
But they're not doing anything, right? So
Yeah.
uh we have to get that animation. On the animation side, what I'm really seeing, let's see here, guys. So there's just something called bounce animation, and then there's transform, but this thing keeps changing, like value keeps changing. So let's see here, like that, bounce animation.
Mhm.
Is this how it's done? Let's see. No, no, there's more to it. This bounce animation needs to be defined somehow, right? So um, there's,
Mhm.
aha, I see it. I see it now here. At the very bottom, it has a thing called keyframes bounce 080 transform scale 0. And that's basically where it's at. So something like this. How did these guys
Oh, yeah.
define this? At keyframes like this. And then you just open like that. What was our definition of keyframes? Um, I think
Bounce.
you call this bounce, right?
Yep.
Is this good? Keyframe CSS code. Let's see.
Oh,
Ah, look
it
at
is
that.
exactly the same.
Now it's identical.
Yeah.
It's identical to it. Colors, like I'm gonna take a screenshot again between the two, just so you see, but they're exactly the same. So let me go to this guy. I mean, because it's outside of like the view, let me just kind of really bring them close together, and then I'll show you. They're wildly similar. Finding kindness, like that. Even the spaces and everything. We got it down to the last minute of detail, except for the K being uppercase versus lowercase. That's the only difference. Yeah, there you go, guys. So I'm gonna share this one with you here. There you go. What do you think?
Yeah. Exactly the same.
They look about right, huh?
Yeah.
They look about right,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so now that we have a working POC, let me kind of commit that POC, and then Maybe Zafar, do you want to start initializing that component? Since we did all the let me kind of just fix this part because I don't want to, I really want to stick to, so kindness, and then you said, Abdul Samad, you said the three dots, there's no
Yeah, the
space,
spacing.
right?
Yeah, yeah. It's fine now.
And then this card on top, I don't know why it has this weird border around it. I don't get it, right? But yeah, so Carlos just said you have a K uppercase, lowercase. So I lowered it, Carlos, and I took away the three dots. The extra space after kindness, only diffs looks good. Yeah, that's exactly it. I don't know about this kind of border in here. I think this border could disappear if I just used something other than card. I'll say card one like that, just to kind of, for the purpose of like making sure that this is not, because the word card itself could be used by some other style or class. So that's why it's getting that weird border. Yeah. Oh man, that's different. Let's see. I just need to get rid of the hang tight. Let me see if I can fix this. So border none, something like that.
Yeah. No, I think you still have the CSS as card one.
No,
The
it's what?
CSS, the div class, the class.
This div
No, no,
class
no.
up here? Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. And
Then
then
you can
border
disable it. Yeah.
none like that. Good
Yep.
catch. It's a brilliant catch. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. It's exactly the same. Look at this.
Yeah. This.
We have a POC,
Yeah.
right?
I have a
I did.
question.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Yeah, so as you can see, we built like two components into one PVC, right? If we go to our architecture. So how are we going to do this? Is it gonna be one component?
No, no, no. So you have these base components like this guy is a base, this guy is a base, and this guy is a base, right?
Yep.
Like these guys are base components, right? And each one of them
Yes,
will have
correct.
uh, like if you
But I
look at
think
that,
you.
uh,
Mhm.
where's the code? If you look here, do you see the the components, like a div is just the same div. So that's one base that you have, and then one paragraph and one header,
Mhm.
and then a bunch of CSS.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it seemed for me that you added one more component to our architecture, which is loading those components.
This guy
I was
here,
asking. Yeah.
this would be so remember, if this is a foundation component, right? So if you look here, it's this guy, and it's using header, paragraph, and division. You can use 50 divisions. Who cares? It's a bunch of divisions, right? It's not a standalone component because you're just using the idea of division, just like how you would say div something, right? I think that's okay. I think that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, like if you go, yeah, what I meant this one. Oh, you want to
Yeah, that
load
guy
the
needs
guy.
to go away. That was bad.
Okay.
I thought that we were gonna pull a sync fusion component in here, and then I forgot that we did that tiny POC with the idea of like you're adding styles and letting the styles do that work for you, right?
Yeah. Then I think that the card division is gonna be inside the loading component, which is gonna basically manage these two components.
Yeah, we're gonna finish this and we're gonna finish both of these today.
Yeah.
Like
And I also.
this one here is the easiest one. You're literally saying this is here. Done. It will be interesting though, if you really want to go above and beyond, to actually enforce order. Enforce order. Our Blazor test today doesn't do that, right?
Mm.
Maybe an idea for Eagle Hansen, right? Do you guys understand? Like what in our tests? Let me just ask you this question. Maybe you have an answer. I don't know. Don't assume that you don't know the answer. Maybe you do. If I go here, just forget about all this for a second. And if I go here and say this is a text box, right? So input type text, whatever, right? This is super old school stuff, but hear me out. This is a text box. And this here is a button. What in our Blazor tests today that guarantees that this guy comes before this guy on the screen? Do you know? We don't have it.
We don't have it
We
actually.
don't have it. We don't have it. So the only thing I could think of, and hopefully that's true, and that just kind of a new standard for us. That would become to be a new standard. I get 100 points, right, for this one. The if B unit has something out of the box that shows you the order of render, because obviously this will render before this because it's sequential. It's rendering on the screen like this. That is there something that exists that actually does that? Let's find out. Do you know who we can ask? Not Ghostbusters. We can ask ChatGPT. You want to ask ChatGPT? Let's ask ChatGPT. How in a Blazor .NET app, I'm using BUnit for unit testing Blazor components. How do I ensure the components are rendered in a particular order? For
Order.
example, div needs to be above button. I don't think there's something out there for that, but that's why we got to learn while we're building things. If you only do what you know, that's just such a boring life. Markup matches. See that sucks. That's not what we want to do. Do you know what this markup matches is? It says expect the raw text of the markup and then match it. It's so disgusting. It's so bad. That's not it. That's not it. Use find all and check. Aha. That's good. That's good, right? Because this will go. The only problem with it is this find all is
Mm,
raw HTML. So if you're on an orchestration or a coordination component level, you have to dig until you get to the very bottom of that. Doesn't work either. That
yeah.
doesn't work, right? So all of this is like, so let me ask a better question. What if I'm using Blazor components? So it's not raw HTML like div or button. Let's find out. Ways to check order of Blazor components. So you have my header, my content, my footer. Find components. Okay, this is good. Headers, contents, footers, and then all. Find components. So what is this guy? What's the purpose of it?
I test right now.
And then now assert their order in the DOM.
Mhm.
Their order in the DOM. See how ugly this is? It's hacky. It's very hacky,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's,
It's very, very hacky. I don't like that. No, there gotta be a better way. I mean, this kind of does the trick, kind of, right? But it's still not where I want it to be. See, we just leveled up right now, guys. Like we just upgraded how we look at things, right? Because today, if I literally take your entire markup or HTML and shuffle it like salad, your unit test will still pass because your unit test isn't checking for the order. How can we? Don't we check for the order when we do orchestration, we do sequence, right?
yeah.
In the verify for the mock, and we verify that the dependencies have been called in a particular sequence. So how come we're not doing that in here? We have to do that in our UI. The UI is even more important. Well, I mean, they're both important, but the UI is even more important. This guy says expect it to be an exact match like that. My only problem with that is that you're going to have to go right by hand. Let's try this one. This one is not too bad. So this is a render component, whatever, and then you're basically saying markup matches blah. Let's try this one. This one might not be too shabby. Let's take a look. Let's
It
take a
means
quick
that we
look.
are going to have it means that we are going to have the UI code in our tests, right?
Yeah,
Like the whole thing.
which is terrible, right? Yeah, I agree. So let's just test. That's a point of experimentation, right? You're gonna have to test and verify, right? We have already components that we had in here, which is that loading component, right? Right here. And
Yep.
this loading component looks like what? If I go into bases, components, foundations, loading components, this guy looks like this, right? So what is this markup supposed to look like? I don't know. Let's find out. This is exciting, actually. This is a very good, exciting thing to explore. I bet you guys thought you're just gonna come here and do what you knew how to do. That's not what this business is. Delete me. And then experimentation, right? So your this dot rendered, let's see, this dot rendered component, render component, and then this is the loading spinner component like
Mina
that,
component.
right? And then basically what you want to do here is to basically go and say, I don't know, I just want to know what, I don't know, assert, not null, this guy, but what I really want to have is string raw HTML, this dot rendered component dot markup, like that. So it just actually just gives you the markup. That's wild. Control RT, so you can debug. Yeah, Carlos says it would be great to check semantic hierarchy, which can be different. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Again, if it is, you can use CSS grid. CSS grid. But how do we access that as a Blazor component? Carlos, that's a challenge. But we need to look up CSS grid. That's a good point, actually. I never heard of it. I need to try it. I need to learn about these things. Let's see. I hope I don't disconnect. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear you.
Every time you run this thing, it cuts me off. It's crazy. I don't know if it's
yeah.
actually, oh yeah, it's still running down there.
I think it's gonna be just one test, maybe just for one test.
Just one
It's
test
not
to
that big.
verify. Look what it
Yeah.
looks like.
Bro,
It looks super ugly, bro. Like, look what it looks like. It actually, you know what it did? It just spits out. Let me just show you and you'll understand. Check this out. It looks horrible. Um, oh, it wouldn't let you see that, would it? So let me do it here then. Add watch. Do you
yep.
see? Oh, it's such a shame. It's okay. Let me copy this. Let me put it in a Word. This is what it spat out. It's spitting out even the CSS that we put in there.
Oh,
Look, that doesn't
Yeah,
like look that's not a good solution, guys.
yeah.
See how it kind of went and did. Here's the div. I'm just gonna try to break it so we make sense of it. Right? Here's another div and then another div. Okay, so there's this div here, and then there gotta be another div in here that I'm not seeing. Auto. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, right? So these two go forward together.
yep.
And then this guy goes forward together. And then there's this guy. That's basically what you're looking at. So it's if you go and literally copy and put all that, that doesn't look like the right solution, honestly. Maybe the index part is better. Let's try the index part. The index is the closest I could think of to fix that problem. Let's see. So in here, you're basically saying this dot rendered component dot find
Component.
components, right? But this guy doesn't give you find all. Find all doesn't make sense. Let's see what find all does. Hold on. Find all. You know, there might be an idea here with the find all, but the find all says you need to pass in a CSS selector, right? So I don't care for that, right? The find all doesn't really do what I'm looking for. But there's find components, and this find components basically does what? If it says go and find what are the components that are in the loading spinner? If you go to loading spinner, you have style base, division base, and then spinner base, right? So I'm gonna go here and say, okay, so style base, right? And then division base, and then spinner base, like that. And what does this guy do? It gives me back a list. So if I say find component, if I'm looking for just one, like this, right? That gives you the rendered component. So this is the base component. If it gives us an index on these, that's a great progress. Division base. And then this is the spinner base. Okay, now let's see what's inside of these guys. Like if I go here and say Control RT, Control RT, Control RT, and then let's see what's inside of these guys. So if I pick up this base component, for instance, and add this to the watch. Oh, you can't see. That's the problem. Quick watch. I need to put that in here, this watch right here. Okay, here we go. So this is supposed to have a higher index, right? So add to watch. Does this guy have an index at all? It has a component ID. Do you see that component ID right
Yeah.
here? But look at the render count. No, render count just says how many it found. Right? Let's see the second one. Add to watch. Do you see any component ID? I got an ID 4, which
4.
is after. So does this mean that spinner base gets ID 5? If it gets ID 5, I think we have a solution, right? So let's find out. Is it ID 5? It is.
Yes.
But where is one and two?
It
Uh,
must be something else that's being rendered on the screen. The base component. Remember that you're inheriting from something. So something is rendering before then. That's actually a great question. I actually don't know. Right? I wonder if I did like find all components, but the problem is it's enforcing a selector. So you don't know actually. But as far as I'm concerned, let's try something, right? We want this test to fail. Watch this. I can go here and say base component. Hold on. Oh, this is good stuff. This is some good stuff right here. The component ID should be be greater than division base dot component ID. And also division base dot component ID should be greater than spinner base dot component ID. Doesn't that solve that problem? So if I
Yeah.
run this test right now, this test should pass. And then we're gonna go, oh, what just happened? It says expected. Oh, I missed
Base
something. Hold
component.
on. Oh,
it should
hold
be
on.
less than.
Huh?
Like a base
Division.
component should be
Be less
greater.
than, right? Be less than. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
That's right. So now let's run this. And then what we're gonna do is that we're gonna go shuffle these components in the markup and see that test fail. And you just got a standard
Perfect.
upgrade. You just got a standard upgrade. We need to update the documentation. We need to update all our code, hundreds of thousands of lines of code everywhere. So this passed, right? You see the green mark right there, right? So let me go into the actual UI of this component and let me move this guy down here. Okay. And let's go back here and run this test. See, you get out of these streams more than you can imagine. It just failed. Right? All right.
Yeah.
Standard upgrade. We have a standard upgrade, right? What I'm hoping for though, because we care about the language, right? We need some library, some BUnit extension. We need to build some open source BUnit extension. And what this BUnit extension is going to do is going to do this. We're going to go and say, watch this. It's going to be this dot rendered loading component should render in order, and we start passing the types in here. So style base, division base, and then spinner base.
Yeah, I
Isn't
have a
that
question.
isn't that a better syntax though?
Yeah, I have a question.
Uh,
So what if we have multiple division bases, spinner bases? Yeah, then it means you have to
that's a
find components based on
that's a
distinct values, something like that.
yes. I think what we can do is that should render component one some selector if you want to distinguish between them, if you care,
Yeah.
right? Dot, wait, and then render component two if you don't care, and then render component three like
Mm-hmm.
that. That's better.
But I have an idea. What do you think about the reference? The like each component has reference, right? We add the reference to it. Why not to compare by the reference?
Because so the biggest problem here is you don't always have the reference if you put it inside of an iteration, because you don't know how many you're going to create. Like if you do an iteration like for each,
Yeah.
like in Pretty Blazor, you do iteration, right? And then you create a
Yeah.
bunch of components underneath that guy. You don't have reference for these guys.
That's true.
Yeah.
Your best shot is to generate an identifier on the fly for these guys. And then you enforce the order. It's way better because you also are guaranteeing that whatever the list that you received are rendered in the exact same order it was received in. But we need this library. So it's a standard upgrade and a tool upgrade. So principles, theories, and tools. This would be a great library because should probably find Mabruk. Mabruk, are you watching us? Where is he? Mabruk! Usually he does watch us, but it's a little earlier or later from I don't know what time. He's the same time as you of the summit, right? Like
Yeah, I think he's 1 hour ahead. Is
what time
yeah,
is it? What time is it for you right now?
5:12 p.m., 5
Oh,
p.m. Yeah, so for
it's
my
probably
book,
taking a nap, right?
yeah, for my book it should be around 6 p.m.
Yeah. We need to we need to create that BUnit extension, some BUnit extension. And what we need to do is to basically develop, and until we have that, I think this is the solution. Like this is the solution right here, right? Because check this out, even this find component it's basically have inside of it. It should have something inside of it that says selector. Let's see. It doesn't have the selector, but if you do components like that, it will force you to pass in a selector in here, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Find components. No, even this guy doesn't have it. Like, that's the problem. You're gonna have to pull all these components in this library and find if they match the selectors that you're looking for. It's a trip. The library is important, but it's a trip. We're gonna need to figure it out. Okay, for the time being, what we can do is to basically say find this component, because the principles of the standard should not be hanging on some tool. The tool is just to help us make the code cleaner, but you still have to enforce that principle, which I have to document somehow at some point. So, okay, team. So we went on a tangent, a huge tangent, but let's go back to where we started, right? The POC, I'm gonna commit that POC, and then Zafar, why don't you start? And then Abdul Samad will basically start, doing, actually building what we started for, right? So I'm gonna go back here, revert everything. The only thing I changed is something at the home level. I added this. Let me remove that, all of that stuff here. Right? I don't think we even need that hello world stuff. Yeah, so this is the POC. We know that it's running. Let's just run it one more time just to make sure that it looks exactly the way we want. And can you guys start productionizing? All right, code with you. Thank you, Carlos. Take care. Let's run this one more time. Sometimes it also kind of hangs. See? Yeah, there you go. Finding kindness. It's perfect. It's beautiful. We know that it works. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm gonna go push this POC render loading dots here. Loading 3 dots. Okay, it's all pushed. Zafar, it's all you now. Let's build. Let's build a brand new component. And according to the architecture, we called this component loading. So there was loading spinner component. Let's call this one loading dots component. Loading dots
Okay.
component. Let's do that.
So let me share my screen.
Right, it's a good day when you unlock a new standard. This is good stuff. I can see your screen. Let's go.
Okay, let me pull the POC. So POC loading 3 dots, right?
Yeah,
So if I go to the home
yeah,
and
that's your guy. Run it once just to make sure.
okay, let's wait a bit. It's the first run.
Yeah,
Okay. So if I zoom in,
uh-huh. Looks good.
yeah, I think yeah, everything's
Wild, bro. Yeah, put that
okay.
code on the side and let's
Yeah.
start. Just remember to update the CSS for the body to have the right fonts in it, because that's kind of a big deal. So if you go into www dot and go into app CSS, you see the www
Okay.
root,
Yeah. And then
and then go
CSS.
to app CSS, yeah, and then copy that HTML/body thing. Yeah, all
Mm-hmm.
that we need basically. So make that part of your new thing, your new component that you're building.
You can put it in here, right?
No,
Like
no,
this.
don't put it here. Just you're gonna put it still in the app.css, but
Mm-hmm.
in your final component, in your production component.
Okay. Sounds good. Uh, Let me go to the master and let me
You already
create a
copied
new
the
goal.
code? You have the code? Okay.
Yes, I have a code. So user supplier. So it's gonna be components and loading those components, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
components. Oh, you mean the class name?
yeah,
Yeah,
loading dot component.
loading those components. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let me go inside.
It's
I
a
have a
foundation.
question.
Still a foundation.
Yeah, yeah. Shouldn't this be a view? Like we have
It should be.
components, basic
Yeah, it should
should
be.
be, right?
Yep. I
Okay.
did say in a previous stream, like if someone has the time to kind of do a quick code drop and fix this, that'd be appreciated. Yep, loading dots. Perfect. Oh man, this is good
Okay.
stuff. We can even enforce in our unit tests. Yeah, you gotta think better. You gotta keep thinking, how do I make things better? You know, I tell people the standard is in draft. They don't believe me. Be like, this is a final thing. This is end to end. I'm like, no, it really isn't.
Yeah. So we have so the division, the card is gonna be in the main in the orchestration components, right? Because we want to orchestrate them, no? Orchestrate like loading and then dots.
Probably. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm looking at the lovable here real quick. Let's see, where's this card at? You're probably right. So there's the loading state, and then there's card loading card, and then there's the loading dot. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the card goes all the way at the top. That's right.
Yeah, because we would need to so since we are using display flags, we also want the display flags to be covered for that spinner base.
Spinner. That's right. I agree. 100%. Yep. Yeah, for
Okay,
the
then we have
POC purpose, we just use the card, but really what matters
mhm.
are these three components inside. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, sounds good. Let me check if we have a large header. It means that we would need to create a medium one.
No, no, double click on the large header. It's probably H2. Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah,
okay, it's each two.
because there is header there. What was the order of things? I don't know if I said epic header or X large header and then large header. But yeah, large header is H2 what you're looking for.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to create a property in here, and it's gonna be a large header base.
Hmm.
So so we call it large header base, right? The name,
I
the
mean, get rid
reference.
of the base and just define it the way it is. The base is only an indicator of what. Yeah, large header is fine. Yeah,
Okay. Then we would need a division base. So and for this guy, um,
mm.
so
I
since this
think it's
division is gonna have three divisions
No,
inside
we
of
need the
it.
we need the paragraph
we need a
first. If
paragraph.
you wanna go
Yeah,
in this, yeah, that's like just like I'm someone was
Yes,
saying.
fine.
Yep,
Paragraph base.
yeah, just a paragraph.
Paragraph.
Yep, and then
And
you need basically you need a container dots or dots container division
mhm. Okay. Dots. Let's say dots.
container division
Dot. Okay. Dots container division.
division, and then we need dot one, dot two, dot three. Yep. Let's make it zero base. Let's do dot zero, dot one, dot two.
Yeah.
Because we're engineers. We're crazy. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
zero a real
So
number? Does anyone know? Is it positive or negative number? Do you know?
is a middle.
It's in the middle. It's not negative or positive, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
should be something like a neutral number.
Okay. I think there has been some
So
debate. They say zero is not a positive number. And they say it's not a negative number. Zero is
it's
neutral.
neutral.
It's neither positive
Neutral.
or negative.
So I'm going to create a test file. loading those
Zafar is like,
components.
I'm not having this discussion. This is math. This has nothing to do with what we do.
Okay, let me create the render partial class for it. So now let's write our first test, which is basically
Oh,
is
you're
gonna
not gonna
be
initialize things? No constructor, no nothing?
no, because this first test doesn't need any of them. Like I think the second test you would need. But
So you don't need
do
to
you think
inherit.
that
You have to initialize your component, right? Go to loading dots component tests.
yeah, but for this specifically for this test, I don't think that we need it
Well,
because
you
it's
still have
just
to,
render.
true, but set it up, still set up things. Like you still have to
Okay.
set things up, right?
Yeah, sounds good. So inherit from the test context.
So you just want to make Abdul Samad do as much work as possible. That's what you're doing. See what he just did? He said we don't need it for this test. I agree with him, but how do I inflict as much pain as possible? Oh man.
Okay. I'm sorry, Abdul.
Abdul
So we
Samad
would
is
need
like,
the
Abdul Samad's like, game on. This is going down. No, we don't need sync fusion, right? We don't use sync fusion in here. We just need to,
uh
huh?
yeah, correct. Yeah.
There's no constructor needed. Like you said earlier.
Yeah. It's just a habit.
It's a force of habit. Force of habit. Okay, let's do it.
Lies. Default values. So we need given and when in here, and then. So it's gonna be
Uh-huh.
loading dot component, initial loading dot component, new
Yep.
loading dot component. So in here, I would need to
You just need to
basically
copy all
go.
the. Can you do them all in one shot?
Yep, 1, 2, 3. I have 6 of them. So and then let me copy this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, should be now.
Look at that stuff. Oh man, that's some gangster stuff that he's doing.
Yeah, I learned from you.
Ah, aha.
Okay, let's run it.
Man, I gotta tell you guys, you just give me like so much energy. I was so sleepy this morning. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna do a session today. And then Zafar was like, are we doing the session now? You're late. It's like, yes, father. Yes, fine.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can pull in, what do you guys think? Do you want Wardy? Let's get Wardy. Jump in.
Yeah.
So you learn Maui. Live stream. He's gonna he's gonna come in and keep talking for hours, but I'm gonna make him write code. I'm trying to do like a podcast with Paul where we get to discuss like theoretical and conceptual topics about software, like is AI gonna take our jobs, stuff like that. I don't know if people would be interested. If you guys are people in the stream watching, drop a comment if you think that's useful. there's a lot of changing things in our industry, and these streams are mainly focused on coding and actually developing software. My God, he didn't even answer me. He just joined the stream. That's the thing about Paul. That's what you like about Paul Wardy.
Mhm.
That's so Paul, remember that podcast that I talked to you about where we get to discuss things?
Yeah.
So look, this stream, I don't know if you caught up to this, but this stream is all about, building a mobile app that gives people new ideas for random acts of kindness. It's called the ARC app, right? And then I thought the stream is too quiet. Let's bring in Paul and let's fight over something. And maybe we
Yeah.
can teach him Maui while we're at it. Does this sound like a good deal? It's a good deal.
I'll quite happily sit here and disagree with you all weekend. Sounds like a plan. Yeah.
All right, Zafar, push this. Push
That's
this.
what you want?
That's you want pain? I got pain for you, brother. No problem.
Bring it. Yeah.
Pain I can provide.
Exactly it. I'm the mid there. I am mid gaming session with Ash. I can pull
What-
him in if you want.
What are you still playing that weird game? What's it called? The real-time strategy game that you're playing.
That weird game, yeah. You kind of distracted me.
All right, good to go. Zafar.
Okay, so I'm going to push this pass. So I need to fail one more test, right?
No, it's gonna be Abdul Samad now who's gonna write a test. You need to
Yep.
write a failing test and then let Abdul Samad make it pass and then write a failing test for me. How about that? Because this test is too easy for Zafar. That's an insult to his skill set. Abdul Samad, did you hear that part? He's like, I need to write more tests, like, right?
I want to write more tests. Don't worry, you're going to write everything.
Okay, Zafar, at least write the render part, and then we can do
Cool.
stuff,
Okay, let me fail the test then.
I think Gregory is too busy or is still asleep. That's why he's not on our stream today. But we got Word. We got Wordy.
Yeah.
Wordy playing.
Okay. So then we should leave one more test for Paul.
Paul Wardy, yeah, he's gonna have to write code. We have to teach him Blazor MAUI.
Don't make me work. It's the weekend.
This is not work.
What's wrong with you?
This is fun. It's fun. It's open source. It's for the world. It's a good act of kindness,
You're
Yeah,
a
you're gonna
problem.
work.
I already
I have
spent
a
half the
question.
morning doing bloody AI stuff because you wanted me to research that.
Yeah, I loved how. Do you guys remember how I told you watch the videos, learn AI, and then of course Paul can't just write Python like a normal human being. He decided I'm gonna write wrappers in .NET for this guy. I was like, good luck.
I've managed to figure out how to spin up a model with zero Python.
Really? Did you
Yeah.
use C++?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first video. Okay, Zafar, tell me, what's the blocker?
Yeah. So why don't we? So I'm looking at the styles, right? You said dot char and then paragraph, then dot char and then h2. Why don't we give classes for this h2
Yes,
and
you should.
paragraph?
Since the card is not there yet, you're probably gonna need to kind of do that. Yeah, that's fine
Yeah.
by me. Yeah.
Okay, then let me say string expected. So in our case, it's gonna be large header CSS class.
Mhm.
So how can we call it? Large,
Large header is fine. Yeah.
and then string expected paragraph CSS class
Yep.
paragraph.
Yep. The others already have, right? .1, .2, .3, or .0, .1, .2, right? But the dot
Yeah,
container doesn't, right?
Yeah, you called it loading dot. I think it's fine, right?
Yeah, loading dots is
Yeah,
fine.
loading dots.
Or loading dots container, something like that.
Loading dot container.
Isn't that what we called it in the C sharp stuff?
No, we called it loading dots.
Okay.
Expected dot
0
0
class.
class. So it's gonna be
Loading. Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Perfect. Perfect.
So yep,
Let's do it. Let's do it, man.
and it's render component.
Loading dots component.
Please render loading dot component instance dot large header should not be null. And then
Yeah, I think each of the expected .css class .0 it's dot space .1 dot space
Mm.
.2, yeah. So I mean, like there will be another class for it inside of the expected .0 CSS class.
generic one, right? Generic
Yeah, yeah,
class, I
generic
see.
one for the three of them.
Because yeah, I got you. Okay. So the large header dot CSS class should be expected with large header CSS class. Then we need the paragraph piece, and then okay. System should be not now. Dot container. It's rendered instance of container CSS class. Okay. And instance.
Should not be not. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I think then run this test.
Here we go.
Yep.
Is it
Failed.
failing for the right reasons?
Let me check.
You always
So
have to
it
check.
says
Mhm. It says 2 failed. I think the other one is from before. Yeah, this is good.
yeah.
This one is from before. Run all the tests and make sure only one fails.
Okay.
Hopefully we don't lose you. We'll see.
Hopefully.
This project, Paul, has this weird thing that when I try to rebuild it, it disconnects me from web for some reason. I think I created a virus unintentionally.
So it failed for the right reason, and I'm
Yes.
pushing the fail.
All right.
According to the
Okay,
rules of the standard, you should be able to spot that real easy.
Should. But the technology we're working with is interesting. You know, it's a lot of black boxes. So, all right, Abdul Samad, your turn. Yay. You get to
Yeah,
do the fun stuff.
yeah. Okay, let me pull your PR.
He's actually doing one easy one, which is the like just sticking the ref to the components, right?
Mhm.
But he's gonna have to write the one with the CSS, which is also
Yeah,
easy. It's all easy, guys. It's just you've done it at this point in
yeah.
time. You've already done it like thousands of times with me on many different projects. So it's all good.
Yep, let's go.
Paul is like, I'm gonna mute myself. I'm not part of this conversation. This is Maui. This is CSS. This is HTML. I'm a backend guy. This is not my stuff.
Talking rubbish. It's not all easy.
What
I hate it all. It's all pain.
are you talking about? I heard you loved Blazor. What are you talking?
Yeah, it's my favorite technology.
Let me share my Visual Studio.
Let's go. So let's do it. Let's go, bro. We're almost done. One
Yep.
more test, right? And then we can We can call it.
Yep.
The easiest one of
So
these all is gonna be that coordination component, right? Because that component is just gonna have two components, stick them to each other, and that's it. Just shows up like that. All right, here we go. I want you to zoom in a little up to Samad in the
yep.
text as well as, yeah. Zoom, 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 more. Yeah, now it's kind of reasonable.
Okay.
So if you look for dots, you should see it.
Yep. So loading dots. This is a test.
Uh,
Mm-hmm. Views. Um, sorry. Mm-hmm. Components. Yep. Yes, so to render this, we would come to the main one and do style is so take space.
component styles. Oh, did Zafar actually add the styles or no? He did, right?
No, I
Oh,
didn't create styles.
why?
Okay.
I think you need to add
Component.
atref.
Yep.
Atref.
Yep. Yep.
You always have to add the styles. Style base.
Yep.
He doesn't. The summit he doesn't want to do anything today. You know. Zafar is like, why do I need to write code? Isn't it enough that I showed up on camera and people saw me? That should just give you the app written automatically.
Okay.
I remember I
Can
remember
relate.
asking I remember asking one of my friends, be like, hey, let's go buy some food. And we didn't have anything. We were poor. We didn't have anything. It's like, with what? With our looks? Do we just show up and they'll give us food?
Large database.
Mm.
Large
I
data.
think I think even that test is missing like the actual text inside of it. Did you write that in your test, Zafar?
Okay, let
All the
me.
text.
The value. Hold on. So 1 second, Abdul Samad. Hold on a second.
Okay.
I think Zafar needs to update his test because it doesn't have a lot of things. Go back.
Mhm.
I'll unshare your screen.
Yeah,
Zafar share
that's
your
correct.
screen and do Blazor proper this time. Maybe this time you'll do
Yeah,
it better.
I was focusing on the only on the CSS styles. Let me quickly fix it.
What do you think, Abdul Samad? Should we
Yeah, that
invite
behind.
Zafar next time to the stream? What do you
Yeah,
think?
let's spit him. Let's spit
It's
him.
yes. So we need the text, dude, and we need the style base. So
Let's write the text. It's gonna be. Let me copy it. Finding kindness.
Mm-hmm.
So Paul, you should pull the project down because it's your turn.
No.
Leave me alone.
I'm still in AI mode. This, yeah.
So let me just ask you this while people are writing this code. Like, you see, like, so the reason why I'm releasing these videos in bare bone Python, to just do that is to show three problems, right? Number one, Python is very hard to read for someone who comes from the .NET world. It's almost impossible to understand because of all these shortcuts and whatnot. But what really gets under my skin is the tabs. The tabs. You miss one tab and you're in a completely different scope. There is no squiggly brackets to tell you, that something is going on. Okay, that's one part. Okay, great. But if you want to really, would you rather just use a black box like a library that's doing something you don't understand what it's doing, or would you rather go back like really bare bone, just go and say, okay, these are the vector, embeddings. I'm gonna hit the SQL database. I know exactly what it's doing because it's using these particular libraries, right? Eventually, and I think this path that you started is exactly how we're gonna productionize this AI work, is when you basically try to turn that into solid, stable .NET libraries with no or low dependency on external bindings and external technologies like pip and Python and all that kind of stuff. You want something to do that for you. The best I could come up with, and trust me, like what you're doing right now is exactly something I'm trying to figure out, is do we just end up having an MSI.exe that installs things for you? It's MSI.exe is frowned upon. People don't want to install stuff on their computer. I don't know what you're doing with my computer. Don't install things on my computer, right? It's just about how do we do all this in a NuGet package? And I think you can actually trigger a Python install and a pip install and a dependency install from NuGet. I promise you, this is a very possible thing to do. So I don't know. We'll see. All right, Zafar, this test is good.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, go ahead, Abdul. It's your turn.
Scott.
You guys are gonna love the 5th video. It's gonna be wild. We're gonna talk agentic AI. We're gonna talk about how to make AI do stuff for you. It's gonna be wild. Right now, agentic AI is one of the most super bleeding edge areas in AI because it's super unstable. Like it's really unstable, and no one actually has a definitive solution for it yet. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm finding that a lot of the code around just dealing with LLMs is either Python or C++.
Mm,
Um,
bare
I think
bone. Yep. Hmm.
I think the real guts of it is C++ because
Yeah,
it's low level enough,
it is low level enough. Yeah,
high
and you want
performance enough to
performance.
solve the
Yep.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Mm-hmm.
good thing about C++ is that a lot of the C++ repo providers are actually packaging them up. So from a .NET guy's point of view, you can just pull a NuGet package and you get access to that C++ world. So that's
Yep.
always going to be my preference over
Yep.
something like Python, which doesn't have an equivalent.
Did you look at sea snakes? Did it work at all? Sea snakes?
I haven't
There's
dug into that yet because the
there's
whole idea
there's
behind Sea Snakes was to take effectively a Python runtime and then execute it in your .NET code so that you could still execute effectively Python. What I don't want to do really is run Python code in my .NET solution. I want to
Yep.
write C# only. I want to stick to
Yep.
my one world, my one problem domain in terms of language, and I want to actually solve the business problem.
Right. What about Iron Python? Maybe Iron Python is the answer.
I think it's the same issue for me
The
because
same problem because you still have to.
it's the
Yeah.
context switch that's the
Yeah.
issue. As soon as you're in a kind of different, if you like, technology domain, you start to incur, if you like, mental load that you don't really want to take on.
Yep.
So what I've been trying to do is find from the videos that you've put together nice ways of effectively packaging up those key pieces.
Yep.
So that I can say, okay, here's my own equivalent kind of wrapper around it. Now I'm in my C# domain. And
Yep.
from here on out, everything I do is going to be C#.
Yep. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, what you're talking, if you want to go full C# native, you're going to have to rewrite things like TensorFlow and stuff like that fully from the ground up. That's the problem, right?
Do we though? Do we? because like the stuff that we're talking to is basically pre-packaged. If you like, the brains of it all is all done, and that stuff is done with TensorFlow. Yeah, but like we don't have to get involved in that. We just have to take the results of it, and then from the results, take advantage of it. It's kind of like, imagine if EF was written in raw C. Would you then say, oh, you'd have to learn C really to kind of deal with EF? And it's like, well, no, not really. You can just take the result of that, and you can
So
still
you're
take
talking
advantage.
interop basically.
Yeah, kind of. I think so. With C and C++, you get what they call bindings, right? Where, as part of publishing the package, they generate the bindings, so you could still produce, if you like, those .NET entry points into the code. And it's effectively just an interop problem between languages. I think we shouldn't shy away from, as a community, interacting with other technologies, but I think we should recognize that we have a domain that we live in, and I think we should try and remain in that domain as much as we can. Because otherwise what you end up doing is you end up appealing to a community that has a particular skill set, and then you have to say to them, oh, right, we're going to completely leave your skill set behind, but here's some really complicated problem that I now need you to understand. And I think that just causes more headaches for people, and
it does.
People sort of shy away from that sort of stuff, really, because whilst most people are open to like learning new things, I think it's really a kind of, if you're talking about something like AI, which is like on the cutting edge, you end up with this problem with, well, I can either learn new things or I can be on the cutting edge. I can't be doing both. It's too many problems at once, and I think it's just gonna, it's gonna kill people's interest in such things. And
But then if you develop wrappers around these, that the biggest challenge also is to keep up, because right now it really changes on the daily. Like, you know, that Llama CPP that you had to build, right?
Yeah.
If you download previous releases of the Llama CPP, open source,
they're all different.
But if you try to build a previous like commit and run it against the GGov file, it's gonna fail. It's gonna actually say, I don't know, I don't understand this file. So even though same extension, same file, same compilation, but they keep changing and optimizing how it works, and they're all breaking changes. That's how raw and bleeding edge the industry is right now, right? So if you say, well, why bother? Let me just go call OpenAI, like API endpoint, and let them worry about this craziness, then you kind of lose grip and control, because now you're always dependent on OpenAI, which is burning GPUs on the daily to keep up with all this demand, right? So
yeah, I think you're right. It's one of these things where, like, because we are dealing with something in this case where we're like right on the cutting edge of what's going on effectively in our industry, right? Like, IT is a big industry, but what we're talking about here is the stuff that the world is talking about because it's so cutting edge.
Yep.
And when you get into that domain, we're in that weird place where it's like we can't just pick up a thing that's already out there and roll with it and show people how to use it. We now have to start broadcasting, hey, here's how we, from the cutting edge, move things forward.
Yeah.
And that's a really difficult territory to be in, because I could pick up something like ASP.NET and say, hey, here's how you build a web application. Or, you know, I could pick up Entity Framework and be like, here's how you talk to a database, right?
Yeah.
But I can't just pick up an LLM and be like, here's how in C# you build an agentic AI. We're, to some degree, going to have to build pieces, and we're going to have to put a disclaimer on the bottom of it saying, hey, this is a moving goalpost, by the way.
Yeah, this is a moving target. I
Comes
can't
with
promise
the
you.
"it works on my PC" guarantee.
You're gonna have to ship the PC to the customer in order for it to work. I think just a quick note on the side. Abdul Samad tried to do a rebuild, Zafar. I didn't see his last click, but he did a rebuild and it kicked him out. I don't know if he committed his last change or whatever he was doing. Or maybe he was like, I don't want to hear this. I'm out. He just decided to let me, let me go and get the
He
latest and
actually
see.
messaged me.
What
He
did?
said that electricity went off.
Oh,
Yeah,
electricity went out. Okay. I'm
yeah.
glad at least it's not the build. As long as it's not the build, that's a good thing. Okay, let's see where he's at, right? So your branch, I guess that's why it's really cool to pass the ball back and forth between two engineers when you're writing code because of that. If anyone is watching this, this is it right here. That's why pairing is beautiful because even if someone completely lost electricity and they're unreachable, you could still pick up the baton and run forward with it,
So
regardless of how far they are. Go ahead. Good.
assume I'm a total idiot here, right? Because this is not something I'm familiar with. But
Uh,
the way I've understood the Maui marketing is
uh.
they've basically said it's Blazor, but not. So I don't really understand it. Like, is it still Blazor, but is
It
it
is
not
still Blazor.
Blazor?
No, it is Blazor. The only difference is that you're interoping with the mobile app native libraries, even though you're building technically a web components and Blazor web view components. That's the beauty of it. It's pretty cool actually, if you think about it.
So have they taken the kind of best way to explain it? I think is MVVM kind of
Hmm.
component style way of working, and they've just wrapped it up in a different way so that they can go to
Yep.
remove the browser. Basically,
Yep.
is that what they're doing?
Yeah, essentially you're standing up a server on your phone and it's
Right.
rendering web components, but it's WebAssembly. Like this is one big mistake. Like a lot of people say, I'm trying to use your RESTful Sense library, and I'm noticing that it's not working. Well, you're using RESTful Sense for server side, not RESTful Sense WebAssembly, right? So this is truly is WebAssembly. It's truly fully client side, given that the server is the phone.
But they have Blazor server and Blazor client, right?
They do.
So I'm still confused. What's the difference between, say, the client Blazor and Maui? Like what?
Oh, the Blazor server is the idea that you have this massive capacity capability server that you want to pre-render before you push to the client versus everything is rendering on the client side. So in the mobile phone app situation, the client is the server.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna try to make this pass then since we lost the guy. Ahmed says, I'm blown away. We have to treat components the way we treat services found. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Ahmed, that's exactly it. That's what we're doing, It's the same architecture. That's the standard, my friend. It's the same thing.
It's the
Okay,
standard, not a standard.
it's the standard.
Yeah.
Did I show you the video that I generated for the standard? The one that says follow the standard now. Did I show you that one, Paul?
I think you've shown me,
I did.
but have you shown it on the live stream yet?
What
I
about
thought
the
it was brilliant.
What about this one? This one I generated this one yesterday. It's hilarious actually. Hold on. So also include, yeah, this one I generated yesterday. Check this out. It doesn't make any sense, but just watch.
It's muted.
There is no
Senior
sound.
engineer status unlocked. Confetti just blew up in his face.
You know you're a senior engineer when something explodes in your face. Like,
Yeah.
with a junior, it's like, oh, it's gone wrong. Call the senior. With a senior, it's like, yep, it's now my problem.
Yep. Just push it to prod. See what happens. Maybe
Yeah.
it's our machine. Okay.
Could just be a local problem. Let's test it in prod.
Florian is here. Hi, Florian. Okay. Let me see if I can, since we lost Abdul Samad, due to electricity. Let's do this. So style, I don't know if the piece, Zafar, you already pushed the piece with the, yeah, that's okay. So let me do style base. Style base, let's get this going. There we go. I'm gonna make your test pass super quick, dude. You wouldn't even know it. Component styles, right? And then we have a division base, right? At the beginning. And we have a, I know we have a, no, actually we have a header, large header, base, ref, header, large header. And then we have a, what's under the header, the paragraph, right? Paragraph base, ref, paragraph. There you go. And then we have the division base. And this division has 3 divisions underneath it. Like that. I don't need the closing. Like that. Oh, here we go. And then Control D will help everything be better. See, it's fighting me that I'm trying to close it. Like
So it
that.
should.
Yeah, and then ref.
Anything that gives you
Dot.
grief is probably a good thing.
It's probably. So, so this is 0, 1, 2, and I think what he did was also, see, that's the beauty about standardization, guys. You gotta appreciate that you can just pick up where someone left off, no problem, right? So CSS class, what did he call these? Let's see, or what did you call these? So this is the loading dots. You called it a dot 0, right? Okay, so like that.
Oh,
And
God.
this is CSS class dot 1 class. Oh, CSS class dot 2 like that. Okay. And then we need the content, right? I'm assuming you added value in there. There's no value in the header base. Oh, it's just called text. Okay. Text equals, that's 1. And does the paragraph also have text in it? Yes, it does. Beautiful. Beautiful. And then I get to go to your test, dude, and basically pick up preparing something beautiful for you. Finding kindness. It's a really nice app, Paul, I promise you. You'd love it. And you could learn about how to, what do you call it? How to develop mobile apps from scratch using Blazor MAUI. See, so
Yeah.
you're getting 2 things here. You're getting the AI stuff, right? And you're getting the mobile app stuff.
It's funny because I've come from this world of finance. Anyone who's ever dealt with money at scale in business will know that financial institutions are still stuck somewhere around, I don't know, the 1980s, 1990s. So it's all like you want to if you want to interact with, say, for example, the biggest bank in Europe, you're probably going to be talking to an old SOAP web service and having to speak WCF. And it's just like,
yep.
Why is this a thing? And then by contrast, I come and get involved with sort of projects that you're doing, and I'm dealing with, publishing companies, for example, always want to be seen as doing something new and fresh. And so they're working on like the latest and greatest that Microsoft is putting out technology wise. And I'm like, I get whiplash, to be honest. Like
the switch is interesting, right?
Yeah, it's just night and day. Like in one, like really basic stuff, like getting CRUD working can be a real headache, and then in the other, it's like CRUD's easy.
Deep, much
deeper. The problem is making it look pretty, or just making it behave because of some new random error. Because now everything is so abstract, you don't have to worry about CRUD. You just have to configure CRUD correctly.
Exactly. Look who's back. Abdul Samad. I tried to pick up where you left off. If you still have the code, I could just, revert what I did. You still have it?
Did they switch the country back on?
Yeah, I still do.
You still do? Okay, I'll let you share your screen then. Yeah. I'll revert my changes.
Okay, so.
So I was teaching Lucy, my 7-year-old, algebra yesterday, and because she wanted to know what I did for a living, and I happened to have like 3 instances of Visual Studio open at the time. I was like, read that, that's what I do. And she was like, I don't know what it means. So of course I got this big whiteboard behind me, and we got up there, and I was like, right, okay. She hadn't even been introduced yet to algebra at school because she's too young. She's only a 2nd year. So I had to explain the concept to her, and she took to that. Like, I was like, cool, right. Now you've done that, you can write that exact same algebraic expression in C#.
In C#, that's right. I mean, isn't it like a misconception that you need to be good in math to be good in programming? That's a misconception, right?
I think it is, yeah. Because whilst I think I did an A level in it, but I think the fundamental basis of programming is around things like variables and, you know, expressions and stuff, which is basic algebra. But like, to say you need to be good at math implies that you need to like understand it at a really high level. Well, the school told me that they'll probably be introduced to algebra next year. So it's a year 3 subject. So to say you've got to be good at math, well, basically you've got to understand it as well as a year 3 student in the UK. So an 8-year-old.
That's right. That's right.
And to be honest, like, the way that I kind of look at it is most of programming is a cross between kind of like our spoken English language and algebra. And it's just really understanding logic, which mathematics is basically foundationally just a wrapper around or an extension of logic, isn't it? Logic, you know, at a very basic level.
It's true.
But yeah, to think that you need to be good at maths to be a programmer, I think is flawed.
Yeah, it's not true. A lot of people think so, and it kind of makes them like, I'm not going to be into. You need to be good in logic, like logical.
Yeah. I would say probably it's a critical thinking problem, right? You need to be able to look at a problem and say what could go wrong, be able to solve that, and catch all the things that are not right. But
you got a question there, Paul, from Florian.
equivalency.
Will your daughter learn first that the equal sign be an assignment symbol or a value of equivalency symbol?
So here in the UK, the first thing they teach them obviously is basic math. So they're learning simple operations, addition, subtraction. So when they learn maths at that level, you know, it's some number plus some number equals. So it's an equivalency at that point rather than an assignment. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because that is the main shift, isn't it? When you go into programming languages, it's no longer an equivalency; it's actually an assignment.
Yeah, yeah.
There's some subtlety there.
The equal is the equivalency, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because I think she was struggling with that to some degree because she type information, for example. So you know, we would say int x equals some value. And she was like, can't I just say like my name, Lucy, equals some value? And it's like, yeah, you can, but you've got to give it, because of the language context, you've got to say what thing it is, what type of thing it is. Because I was saying to you at the time, I was like, this would be so much easier in something like JavaScript, because I could just say to her as a blanket rule, put var.
Tell me of the sod. Why is it barfing?
Yeah, I think
go all the way. No, you don't need to do the override.
Okay.
Go all the way to the bottom of your error. Yeah, click on that red. See where that red is at. See, it's saying render dots component. Right. So now dig deeper. Like scroll even further. Does it go any further?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. But it doesn't tell you what is the thing that you're trying to access. Right. So are you supposed so go back. No, go back to your test. I think there's another missing thing in the test. So is the test saying .instance? Yes, it is. Right. So you want to put a breakpoint and see which component of these is missing. Right. So keep going and start jumping one by one, and it'll tell you what's broken. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me go. Okay.
Yep, and then do F10.
I think it's component style
What
because
is
it
it?
needs a style. I think it's a component style. It needs a style inside. It needs to take a
Oh, that's
style.
right. That's right. That's
Yep.
true. Let's do that. Let's do that.
So I need to create this one. Models. Where do we have the models? Okay, here.
So you could add like an empty one, empty
Yep.
initialization for the yeah. Let's do it. Getting closer, folks. Let's go.
Yep.
What's happening?
Now I'm trying to create a class.
Oh, I see.
Loading
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
component styles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good. Yeah, but Paul, we definitely need to build those wrappers. Need to make them open source. Otherwise, the .NET community only way of running AI models will be through APIs, RESTful APIs. That's not offline, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a staged thing. So first, make the technology accessible to the community. So bring it into .NET, bring it into the C# world. Then you can kind of introduce people to the idea and like the sorts of things that we're going to build with it. Build a few of those things. Then when people start to see the value, you can then be like, okay, there's a piece here that's kind of black boxy because it's written in another language. Let's attempt the, if you like, reverse engineering of that piece of the technology stack so that we can, you know, get our gains from it, I suppose.
Yep.
What we've often found particularly in C#, is that because it's been a high-level language, it's taken some time to evolve to the point where
Evolve and keep up. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And historically, we've always found, like, I don't know if you've had this, but I've had conversations with people where they've said, oh, I don't use it because it's slow. I'd rather use C++ because it's a lot faster. And then actually you go and look at the benchmarks and you see, yeah, probably, you know, C# under .NET 1 was probably like, you know, 30% slower for any given problem than C++. But like you look at like .NET 9 and the things that the guys are doing in the .NET team is just
wild.
incredible.
It's wild.
Yeah.
You know, I love how it's morphing slowly and surely into a functional language. Like it's starting to look more and more like Scala. This whole pattern matching, monadic functions, all of that. This is all Scala stuff. Okay, here we go. Paul.
This is what I get for joining you on a live stream on a weekend.
Yep. What's wrong? Do you have to go?
No, it's still running. Okay.
I'm just getting drama. You know, girls have fallen out about something. I don't know what. I'm just like, yeah, okay.
So Abdul Samad, you got the biggest screen in the world, but the PC still takes 2 years, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah, so I think I have a failing test.
It says finding kind of. Oh, you didn't pass the text value in there.
No, I think I did. Finding kindness. This one.
So go back to the actual. Finding 3 dots versus 2 dots. Your eye got to catch that stuff super fast. You know. You don't want to tell. You know what's the skill set that software engineers are the best at? It's spotting the difference between things. You build that like crazy because it's always that one string with one extra thing that ruins everything up. Paul, did I ever tell you about the Roman Greek character that looks like a semicolon, but it's not, and it shows up like an error, and it drives people insane?
It's funny you say that. I was working on something the other day that I don't want to talk about. But, I found a character that was a question mark, but it wasn't a question mark. It just looked exactly like a question mark. And I was like, why is this a thing?
I know. Abdul Samad, where's my failing test, bro? Did you just call it?
Yeah, yeah. I push. Give me a sec. I need to
But
because I'm not
uh
verified. I don't have Git verified. I mean, I have Git verified, but I always have to insert a script. Every
Okay, no
time I
problem.
need to push. Yeah, whenever I
Yeah,
restart.
I thought you cut on me. I was like, wait a second, this guy owes me.
No, I'm here. So let me push again.
Okay, Florian says, what's the purpose of the wrapper you're talking about? I'm not following your recent work, guys. Oh, so Florian, if you see the last videos I published on my channel, they talk about AI, running AI offline and whatnot. And most of the tooling out there, it's not mature in the .NET world yet. It's mostly C, C++, and Python. And we're trying to build wrappers around that so we make it accessible to this entire .NET community, basically.
We got some things that we want to use it for ourselves.
Yeah, there's tons of things. If you watch the RAG video, the RAG model, you're going to be mind blown because you're going to have tons of ideas immediately as soon as you see that. Because basically what I did is that I connected my Llama model to a SQL server. And I'm asking it about things that's in the SQL server, and I can update the data in real time in the SQL server, and the AI model will still answer based on that up-to-date data instead of having to fine-tune and wait 8 hours to bring the model up to speed. They both have their purposes, but this here is the heart and soul of it, right? So yeah, that fourth video, if you watch it, it's gonna blow your mind. You're not gonna believe what's in there. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've been trying to build a very simple console app that basically has that kind of chat GPT like chat functionality, but I want to be able to issue commands to it so I can say, exclamation mark learn and then give it input and
Hmm.
output, and then it
Hmm.
just takes that as a learning exercise, goes and does a fine tune, and then replaces or updates the model
Hmm.
in real
Hmm.
time. But it can do that as a kind of background process.
Hmm.
And I want to make all of that kind of functionality accessible in a C# domain, because
Hmm.
at the moment that is seemingly exclusive to most
Python.
Python users.
Python,
Yeah.
yeah. I kept making fun of people. I told them Python belongs in the zoo, and now I'm putting videos out there that talks about Python. I feel
Bloody snakes
embarrassed.
get everywhere.
Yeah, it's just snakes. Snakes, just see snakes.
I'm seeing snakes all over the place. It's terrible.
What are we gonna do about that? Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something about it, right? So I'm not sure you have to put the dot. Do you have to put the dot actually? I think so. I
Yeah,
think maybe you're right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so Florian, that's basically what we're up to. We're basically, just so you understand, we're putting wrappers around large language models to make it accessible to the .NET community, basically. That's the purpose of it. Oh my lord, look who just joined in. Is that Noder? Abdul Samad, have you ever met Noder before?
Have I met that guy? I don't know. I know, yeah.
Noder, nice to meet
I'm
you,
good.
brother. Assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. What about you?
I'm good. I'm good. You look good, brother. You look happier. We were the source of
Thank
this
you.
guy's misery, and now he's just, you can see his face is just lit up. He's out of the standard pit. I see. I don't know. I don't speak Uzbek, so I don't know really what he's saying. But I'm looking at his YouTube videos that he's putting out there. I'm like, oh my God, this guy completely went full blasphemous, on all the standard principles. He couldn't wait to just get out of here. But no, I'm so happy to see you, brother. I'm really, really happy to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, my YouTube videos is about programming, but for the beginners, not
Yeah,
for
I know.
the.
No, I know.
For the
I'm just teasing you, bro. I'm just kind of, poking you. Let's get a question. I see a question in here. Ahmed Salim says, "Hi Hassan, I have a question, please. If I have an aggregation service exposed, can we just bunch everything up on the front end under foundation services? What do you think, Zafar? What's the answer to this? What's the answer to this question? Can we bunch everything up, just put everything together on the front end under a foundation service?
Like foundation, no, like front end should talk to view service. Like this is the first thing, right?
That's right. That's right. That's true. But also more importantly, like you have to know, like aggregation services still enforce the same model. So you can't just bunch everything up, because if they don't take in and return the same contract, the same model, or a primitive, they don't aggregate together. It doesn't make any contextual sense. So even though aggregation services says, okay, put everything out there, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can put everything out there. But this is a good question. I know where this question comes from, actually. Even though I don't know Ahmed Salim in person, but I know how I know how you get to that question while you're building something serious. Florian says, yeah, I had to switch to Python and TypeScript backends for my RAG projects. The LLM ecosystem is focused. Yeah, we're trying to break that, Florian. We're trying to make it more inclusive. We're trying to make it more for communities. I'm hoping that other communities, other programming languages, enthused communities will look at what we did in C# and go do the equivalent in, let's say, Scala, in Java, in any of these. Because right now, these languages, all that they're doing is just standing up a server and then calling REST API endpoints, right? But you don't always, I can't stand up a server on that little guy right here. I can't stand up a server on that. Like, you guys can see it, but let me kind of, this little robot, I can't stand up a server on this guy. There's no way you can do that. So
You not
that's,
got the hardware to run a web server?
no, no, not at all. You can't open ports on this guy as easy. This is a tiny Linux, like a minimal version of Linux, right? So it's meant and built for, think about a Pi. What is it called? You know, what's the little board, the open source hardware board? What's
The
it called?
Raspberry Pi Zero?
Raspberry Pi. Raspberry
Or
Pi,
the
right?
oh yeah, the
There
main
are
one.
possibilities, but the fact that you have to run something that doesn't really require external input just to run it against a different language, that's just a violation in and of itself. If you think about it, right? That's what I'm talking about, right? So it's interesting. It's interesting this way. So Noder, what's the deal? Are you gonna build Arc with us, or you forgot how to test drive things?
Yeah, I want to build the arc with you now, but I am out of my home. I'm just as a street.
You're just showing up for the res, bro. You got the res. Okay, I gotcha. I see you.
It's a full blown boxing match going on in my living room.
so I'm seeing the whole Tom and Jerry show that's going on in the background. Lucy and Alice are giving everyone a show, a fighting match. Oh my god.
I'm like, play nice, and the little one's like, nah, she's getting it. You're the little one.
You know how always the little dog always the one be like attacking the big, bulldog or whatever. Yeah.
Nuts. Jeez.
uh, someone brought up, I think it was Carlos. He basically said, guys, remember, like, font sizes needs to be in the EM for accessibility. We're gonna try to do that exercise after we're done. I want to make sure that the app that we're building is accessible. That, what I mean by that is that it means it needs to be easy to use for people who have vision impairment. They have a color blindness. They have issues with even, like, all kinds of things, right? You want to make the app, something that's inclusive and usable for people with disabilities, right? So this will be interesting. But yeah, Paul, I'm actually really excited about the whole LLM wrapper stuff, because that basically is gonna mean that we get to bring an entire community onto, this world of LLMs. That's exactly pretty much what kind of keeps everyone away, right? I mean, people are either, oh, I have to be online, not in airplane mode, to call some OpenAI API or whatever, or I'm just out of options. But this is a software engineer job. They want to know how the thing works internally. At least those who are curious to do so, right? I know that some people will be like, oh, just install the Olama and run it as a server locally and then call it as an endpoint. That's just all hacking. That's just not how this is supposed to work, right?
That was exactly where I initially went with it all. Spinning it all up like that, it does give you some degree of control in the sense
Yep.
that it takes it away from the cloud and it retains the same, I guess, problem of
Yep.
dealing with an LLM in that it it retains some feature parity, right? With
Yep.
dealing with
Yep.
like you say, an OpenAI API or something.
Yep.
But if you go, if you want to go kind of step further than that, then much like I guess the closest parity I could draw is like in game programming, right? Most people love to sit on top of like a game engine. They don't really kind of ask what's under the
They
bonnet, what
don't.
the game
Yep,
engine
they
does.
don't. It's like this scary thing that they shouldn't ask questions about. It's
Yeah,
crazy. It's a superpower, actually, if you think about it. Like, imagine you're someone who's working on the Linux kernel, Paul, right? And to you, this is like just drinking water, right? But if you ask literally 99% of the programmers out there, hey, do you want to build a kernel for an operating system? They'll be like, no, 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 this is too complex. I can't do that, right? It's a superpower. Like that, just the impression. Isn't that what makes engineering jobs actually high paying compared to others in the industry anyway? It's the fact that people think, oh, this is too complex. Like it's not for me, right? I think imposter syndrome plays a good role there.
for me, it's not about like I wouldn't want to build, for example, a kernel to an operating system, but
Mm.
I would want to understand how it
How it
works.
works.
And
Yeah.
the only way that you understand that is to actually go and do it, right?
Yes,
To some degree.
exactly.
Like, I wouldn't want to be like the next Linus Torvalds because, well,
Yes.
seeing him rant online is
Yeah.
humorous, but you kind of get it,
Yes.
because you think, geez, I wouldn't want to be in his position. Like
No.
the things he has to deal with amongst
Yep.
that community and whatnot. But it's kind of like at the same time, actually having an understanding of it,
Mm.
I think it puts you in a much stronger and sort of from an educational point of view and from a skill set point of view, it gives you that kind of broad skill set.
It
And
does.
for me, like it's always been like throughout my career, it's always been I would dip into anything, whatever the problem is. I'd jump in and have a look at it, even if I didn't feel I could solve it well, because there's
Yep.
always somebody that, as part of dipping in, you discover as part of that who really does know it. And quite
Yep.
often, what you find is like what we're doing is kind of like web and mobile applications. That's all we really do day in, day out. But
Yep.
there are problems that we have that if you look at it from, say, the point of view of a game programmer or somebody who works in, well, industry I've come from in finance or something like that, and you look at some of the back end systems and how they've historically solved these problems, you see that people have really thought like outside the box, or they've gone a completely different approach to anything that you would sort of consider the norm in like
Yes.
your line of work.
Yep.
And I think when you start hitting those kinds of territories, if you like,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you get called out as being a guy that knows something, if that makes sense.
Yep. No, that's no, I agree 100%, like a subject matter expert. By the way, I always tell people this, like if you're not like you have to be good at some domain in addition to being a good programmer, right? Just being a good programmer alone is never going to be enough because you're going to find yourself completely out of touch and unable to kind of bring some real value. You basically become a code monkey, right? What's a code monkey? Someone who's just being told to build things, but they don't have an actual formed opinion about why this thing is being built, right? You have to understand why something is being built, right? And how does that fit in this industry where you're developing software and systems? It comes over time. Like everyone starts as a code monkey. Trust me, I was a code monkey forever. So everyone is a code monkey at some point, right? And then eventually you evolve and you start thinking what's my purpose actually? So engineering is just a tool, but what am I doing with that tool? Right? That's the trick. It's like being really good at, I don't know, using a screwdriver, right? And then people say, oh, go screw this, unscrew this, screw this, unscrew this. But you actually don't know why you're screwing and unscrewing things. They're just telling you to do it, right? You're going to have to figure out and understand that part, right? It's a big part of it.
I've said this to people before. Like in programming, the act of, if you like, learning to write code, it's
Uh-huh.
much like for example, we're all English speaking, right? If we
Hmm.
wanted to learn French or German or something,
Hmm.
the act of actually getting your head around the language
Hmm.
is, it's like less than a year's worth of work, right? But once you've
Yeah.
got your head around the language, there's a lot of, if you like, slang or
Slang, yeah.
isms within the language that
Of course.
really do take time to learn,
Yeah.
and like expressions or like well-known colloquialisms, for lack of a better expression.
Colloquialism.
Yeah, that's it.
Did
Where
I just
people sort
did
of,
I just say an English word faster than you? Is that what I just happened, Paul? Is that what's
I don't
is
know,
that
I
what
can't understand you. You're speaking American, mate.
it's just completely different. I swear
Yeah.
to God, I swear to God, Paul, I swear to God, I'm telling you this right now. I have this friend of mine. I listen to this guy. His name is James O'Neill, right? He has this kind of podcast radio called LBC or something like that, or LBR or something like that. And he's a pretty smart guy. My friend absolutely have no idea what James is saying. He's speaking British accent, like a strong English accent. My friend has absolutely no idea. She's, what is this person saying right now? How can you hear what this person is saying? Because James, he goes like in one stream, like, and I thought about, and then it was like, but that. So see that the tone it stays the same. It's like he creates this pipe of
Monotone.
noise, and all the words just fit in there, right?
All you hear is beep.
Oh my
It's
God.
funny, they say like each language has like a sound, if you know what I mean. So like,
Yeah.
French sounds very sexy, or like
Uh-huh.
Italian or
Uh-huh.
something, and German sounds very, brash and rough. You always feel like you're being like, I don't know, shouted at or something. I don't know.
Oh,
you
I,
know.
I I got it wrong. It's James O'Brien, not O'Neill. Yeah, James O'Brien. I don't know if
Oh, that guy.
he's a British journalist. It doesn't like
I'm not
just
surprised you don't understand what he's saying. He talks like rubbish.
he I can understand him very well, right? He's the kind of guy that, so here's the thing. A lot of people think, and this is how bipolar, especially here in America, the situation is. If you listen to Fox News, then you immediately agree with them. If you listen to CNN, then you immediately agree with them. I don't care about neither one of these. I'm just listening to people speaking about a topic. That doesn't necessarily mean that you agree or disagree with them, right? Like I can listen, what's his name? Piers Morgan, right? Piers Morgan. I can listen to him all day. I could disagree with 99.999% what that guy's saying, right? And people will think, oh, you're listening to him, then you automatically agree with it. That's how sad the situation is, right? You can't actually listen to someone without people actually looking at you and saying, well, you're listening to them, then you agree with them, right? That's crazy if you think about it.
I actively seek out people that disagree with me to have conversations with them. Like,
How else are you supposed to learn anything, right?
right? Like, how are you supposed to know, like, that your viewpoint has an opposition viewpoint in the world on any subject, unless you've actually heard it? And I don't mean just like somebody shouted that you're wrong at you. I mean, like, really heard
No,
it.
actually disagreeing with you. Look how you and I have conversations, like very politely, with love, with compassion. You'll say, Hassan, I don't think that's true. What about this? Actually, I know your form of disagreement. You never say, I disagree. You always say, what about? That's how you disagree. You'll be
Hmm.
like, what about XYZ? Right? Which I really appreciate and love. Like, you basically don't say no. You don't block the dialogue. You basically say, have you considered? Have you ever considered? What about this? What about that part? I've seen some people do it this way. I know you so well. I know how you kind of You know, I think it's the best way to disagree, just to tell people,
Yeah, I've only told you the standard is rubbish a couple of times.
yeah, you did. Be like, we tried
And then
this
I
and it
read
didn't
it and I
work.
was like, oh, God, now I have to agree with him. What's going on?
Okay, we have a failing test. That's gonna be a hard one, Abdul Samad. You're giving me the hard stuff.
No, it's the simplest part. Just copy paste, right?
You know what
Easy to
these
make
streams
stuff
are
great.
like? Paul and I are like these commentators, right? And there's this soccer game going on, right? And people doing some really crazy stuff, right? And Paul and I just completely venture into something completely irrelevant, has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on.
Here's Abdul Samad building a Fortune 500 company, and we're just chit chatting shit.
You know, you're
Yeah,
joking. What were you gonna say off the song? Go ahead. Go ahead. I
yeah,
need to give you airtime, man. You've been. Go ahead.
yeah, I pushed it already. Yeah,
You
I
lost
think.
it already.
He pushed it.
No. I mean, I pushed the code already, so you can pull from your side if you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
make it
I got
fast.
it. Florian says, how would you know that you don't agree if you're not listening? I love this. I love that part. Like, how do you disagree with something if you just Mr. Hayes just joined us. You know, good morning. Good morning, Greg. He basically says, to have a perspective is to have an open-mindedness. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, let's see if I can run some failing tests. And then Florian followed up with, how would you know that you're right yourself if you're not listening to everything? That's true. That's true. It's
Who
very
was
true.
it that said? Because there's been this huge debate over like blasphemy laws in the UK. There was
Mm,
somebody who turned around and said you have to be legally allowed or able to offend people on the basis that without potentially being offensive, you can't actually have the conversation. I'm summarizing badly,
that's
but
right.
I forget what the exact phrase was, but the idea was that people were basically trying to say, hey, you can't have anything offensive said anywhere in public. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. Practically everything you say in public these days, somebody's got the opposite
Is
viewpoint. So
offensive.
it's
That's right.
offensive to someone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're not allowed to say anything offensive, well, then you're not allowed to say anything in public,
At
which means
all.
we might
Yeah,
as well
that's
just
right.
shut down YouTube, right?
It's true. I mean, I think, I'll tell you something that I learned, just talking to people that have different opinions and whatnot in general. There is a disagreement that has venom in it, venomous, right? Like the guy actually is not actually listening to you. He's actually just trying to like completely miss the point or playing stupid, right? The best person that does this that I can think of is this guy, Piers Morgan, right? He loves to play stupid because that makes views, right? He's not stupid. He plays stupid because drama kind of makes views. But Paul, I've never disagreed with you once, and I didn't think to myself, this wasn't a good conversation. I didn't walk away with sour taste, right? It's always like, you know what? I need to think about it. And then the next day I come back and say, hey, by the way, I was wrong. If you can let people walk out of the dialogue with you thinking, I don't feel bad, I need to think more about this, I think you have evolved. You have evolved and matured. Just because someone is 40 years old, it doesn't mean that they're mentally 40 years old. They could be 5 years old. They're still thinking like a 5-year-old, right? And just because someone is young, 17, 18, 19, that doesn't mean that they're not mature mentally. They could be more mature than a 50 or a 60-year-old. It has nothing to do, like age in terms of growth is completely a different timeline.
Yeah. And I think you're right. And I think it's particularly prevalent in our industry as well, because I often say to people, and I think I've even said this to you in the past, that like quite often the reason why people get into IT is they find that they're more comfortable talking to a machine than they are another human. And I think that, particularly in our line of work, like it's really hard for some of us to actually get together and actually have a proper dialogue and grow and evolve, you know, as a people. Although trends are changing. I mean, we're seeing a lot
Yes.
of, like, for example, you know, our industry used to be really heavily male dominated, and we're seeing a
Yep.
lot more women come into it now. So we're actually
Yep.
getting those viewpoints and the expectation of dialogue in there. But
Things are
yeah,
changing. Things are
things are
definitely changing.
changing. Yeah, exactly. So, and if you're not open to those changes, then where are you going to go?
Yep, exactly. Abdul Samad, I think we missed something, right? Because the three dots are not showing,
Uh-huh.
right?
Missed
Look
it
at
all.
the three dots. Hold on. So if you look at the three dots here, I don't know if it's the keyframe thing or whatever, but look at the three dots, they're not bubbling.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So what's missing? I'll give you back the
Check.
test. Let's
Okay.
find out. Let's find out together, okay? And by the way,
Yeah.
Noder, I have a standard upgrade for you that I think you might find very interesting. But we'll talk about that in a second.
If you love pain.
Oh yeah, pain. So what makes this thing kind of bounce and do all that stuff? I think that we had to kind of create keyframes, and you said
Yeah.
bounce, right? And
Yep.
then sharp. Is it supposed to be
There is comma missing.
040? What is it, Zafar?
Yes.
Comma missing 195 after 80%.
Yep. After
This guy here.
80%. Yeah, no, after the 80.
So this goes away like that, like this?
No. There will be a
Mm.
comma. It's comma separated.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Let me run it
Let's
first
leave
and
that
see if
down.
that's true. Oh, that's on the test side. Let's do it in the.
Yeah.
This is the moment of truth, right? This is where
Huh.
it all comes together, right? I mean, we still need the card thing that centralizes everything, which we can do tomorrow, next week. But for this one, is it bubbling? It's bubbling.
Yep.
It's bubbly, Bob. Do you
Uh-huh.
guys see it? It's
Yeah.
beautiful, right?
Yeah.
What's Florian saying? Mixed race marriage was offensive to talk about. I'm glad we could talk about it, even if some people found it. That's something that surprised me in the West. Trust me, like in a lot of different places around the world, people don't care what color you are. Who gives a crap, you know? The real question is, do you have money? but but this whole theory is crazy. So okay, let me just run the test one more time just to make sure. And I think we need the card, and that card will basically centralize everything together. Just to give everyone an idea, where's can you drop in the private chat the card CSS? Zafar or Abdul Samad, one of you,
Yeah.
because I want to show everyone like how far we've come. There's a thing here called dev class card, like this, and that's gonna be like that orchestration component that we're gonna build in the next stream. But this one here, let me take that guy out or leave it, doesn't matter. So give me the style, brother. Is it this one? Nice. So this right here, Control KD, just to clean
I
things
think
up.
you need to add the closing tag for style.
Closing tag for style. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't catch it, right? Yeah,
Yep.
that's why I didn't. Here we go. Control KD. Come on.
Oh, I still didn't.
No. It's just picking up because of this. It's the editor, the text editor itself is trying to catch up, right? The best way always to do it is just kind of kill the instance and come back, or kind of reload the whole solution.
Oh.
That usually works. Let me unload and reload the solution. Hold on. So unload, reload, because that will put everything in perspective right now. Watch this. Control KD. There you go.
Yeah, maybe if you run the application directly, it should work without.
Application what? Noder?
Sorry. If you run the application, it should work. Maybe if it's IntelliSense problem.
No. It's just Visual Studio bugging out, man.
Ah.
If you unload, reload, it just happens like that. By the way, there's a problem in this project where if you rebuild, it literally disconnects you from the whatever web page you're running. I don't know what it's doing under the hood, but we're gonna find out at some point. There we go. Oh, no, this is running the unit test. I don't want it to do that. So select this as a startup. When I unloaded and reloaded, it switched to startup project automatically. Let's do this. Watch what this guy looks like. Oh, how beautiful is that? But we need, you see one problem, right? You see one obvious problem, which is the they're kind of overlapping. The components are
Yeah.
overlapping. Yeah, that's a problem we eventually have to solve, right? It's not a big problem, but it's an eventual problem that we have to solve.
Could you try to add just a gap 20 pixel
I can,
inside the card?
yeah, I can. What do you mean? Like in here,
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
gap.
gap.
Yep.
gap like this? And what do you
Yep.
say? What
20,
like 3 pix?
No,
20
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
pixel.
I didn't even know about the gap property, guys. You're going way ahead of me. No, that
I
I
think
mean
3
it,
pixel is not enough.
Yeah,
huh?
I think there is. Yeah, it
It
should
should
work.
Do I just put 10
it should be more.
or
Isn't
20?
that like
20.
Flex
Yeah,
or
20.
The gap is basically, is it like margin or yeah, look at that. Oh, looky. Good stuff. Do you guys see it? It's really good.
It's beautiful.
Look at that.
But the problem is that gap is applied like for all of
No,
them, as you
everyone.
can
No,
see.
no, we're gonna have to solve that problem. I know that for a fact,
Yeah.
right? But as far as we
question?
know, like comparing this, by the way, this is what we're trying to imitate, just so everyone knows. We're trying to imitate what Lovable kind of presented us as a solution. So we basically hired AI as a designer, and AI basically told us, here is an amazing thing you can use. Let me just show you the original design and you'll understand how close we are. We're super close to what it actually proposed. It's not even funny. Let me show you. Check this
Then
out.
I say, here's a horribly inconsistent block of terribly written code that I got from GitHub.
Check this out.
Why
This is what,
are you using a CSS block there instead of a sharp style?
oh, the CSS is only for demo purposes. The component itself is done.
Oh, okay.
Like the actual component is done,
So,
right?
okay. Is the idea then that that will be thrown away?
Exactly. There's an orchestration component that we're building. Let me show you the architecture just so you understand. Like this here basically is done. This part right here. This is done, right? This is the loading dots component, right? That's what we call it. And then next week, we can do this guy. And that's where that CSS that you saw will be sharp styles, actually. I
Beautiful.
love that Paul now is with us in this sharp styles, C sharp, don't write CSS raw. I wonder what happened to him at some point.
I
Maybe
don't have to
last week, I
like
don't
it
know.
to say that that's how you do it.
Something happened to him that got him super involved into Blazor, and we will never know. There's no way for us to know what
Never.
happened.
Never met
So,
this guy before. Never done anything with him at all.
so,
Ever.
so, so team, look, it looks really nice. We're getting super close. So this is the loading part, and then we're gonna have to do the content part, and then the error part, and then we release this mobile app. We just put it out there to the world to see. It's the API is already built. All of that is already built. I think we're just kind of few sessions away, maybe 5 sessions away from finalizing the whole thing. I'm super happy with this work. What do you think, Noda? Does this look nice? A little? Maybe 5%? Noda's
Your
done
mic
with it.
is mute. Oda. Your mic is.
Yeah, it is very nice. Sorry, it's my network. I couldn't see all. I couldn't hear all sentence what you're talking about.
No worries, fam.
I'm
I got
just
you.
seeing.
No worries. No worries. I'm gonna put this into like a pass here. And then Zafar, since you created this PR, since you started this thread, go ahead and create the PR. Give it to Greg. Maybe Greg will give it a look and kind of give us a review if you like. I pushed everything out there. So yeah, this has been such a great session. Thank you all for joining. I don't know where Ricky's at. I'm mad at you, Ricky. If you're out there, you should join this session. I want to fill this screen with engineers. Like this whole screen should be filled with engineers. And please, Noder, consider joining us again. This is actually a fun project. We'd always love to have you. One of the smartest people. I appreciate you, brother, always. And of course, Abdul Samad and Zafar, thank you for joining in. And Paul, okay, you joined, I guess.
What's an engineer, by the way?
Thanks to everyone who was watching. See you guys next week. Take care. Bye.